Hey everybody on Facebook. I'm getting our Instagram rocking here and then we'll start. For some reason, I'm not sure if I'm in the right place. Give me 1 second here. I'm not, because that's how it happens. Every time you think you're ready to go, you're not. It won't let me pull up live. It's just letting me like post to stories and I don't want to do that. Sometimes when technology works, it's amazing. And when technology doesn't work, you want to, here we go. You want to, throw your phone through the window. Okay. Hey, Instagram. We're here hanging out with you guys, and we're on Facebook too. So we're ready to rock and roll with Tipster Tuesday, and I'm not going to take a ton of your time today. Sometimes I know Tipster Tuesday can go long, but today's not a long topic. It's just enough to get you thinking in a different direction and hopefully move you out of an unstuck place. And so it's just something that has been a lot on my heart. And a lot of times what I end up sharing is things that I'm personally applying or that I find myself coaching a lot of people on, and it tends to be a theme or it tends to be something that just is very much reoccurring. And so when that happens, I tend to pay attention, as we should, and be like, okay, why is this theme keep coming back, this thought of what's going on? And I've heard it from 3 people today, and I've seen a post about it. And so in that, if one person is experiencing something, the truth is usually a lot of people are. And so within that, what I want to talk about today and help you guys to think about, and what I believe is honestly one of the main reasons we've been successful in this, is this concept of moving the needle forward in your own life, and this concept of being unstuck. Because many of you do the right thing, like you do the things that you're supposed to do, but there's not necessarily a strong indication of change or a shift. And that can look very different. So it can look like a rank, in doTERRA. That's usually what we measure success by, or the main thing we measure success by, which isn't necessarily the only measure of success. But when rank doesn't shift at all, in X amount of time, a year, there's something that's going on there when we say, okay, I'm doing all the right things and I'm consistent and I'm, this and I'm this, but like, why is my needle not moving forward? Why did she get ahead and I didn't? And I'm not trying to even pull out comparison or even talk about that. It's just kind of like, what does set people ahead? And why do some people move into the next rank and pull ahead in some things and seem to like get there quicker than I do? Why is that? And so I find that a ton in coaching. I find that a ton within working with my own team and things like that. And then I just notice it. Like, I'm like, man, I notice it within leaders that I know well. They're really great. They're quality people. They are magnetic. They attract people. They know how to teach, like I'm checking off all of the normal boxes. So what's going on? Like, where's the disconnect? And so I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about that, because I don't want you to tread water. I can think of like honestly nothing more exhausting than treading water. And I'm very physically fit, and I like highly prioritize fitness in my own life. And I would like not last very long treading water, So one, kudos to you if you have been treading water in this business for a very long time. I think that's pretty impressive. There's like a fluttering dust in my camera. I think that's amazing, but I actually know that you're probably tired and it's not very life-giving. And so I would love for you to get to the edge of the pool. I would love for you to be able to be done treading water and actually cross the finish line and rest and feel fulfilled and move into the next thing. And we need to do that with some key things. And so I'm going to kind of speak to you from my heart. I don't have a special tool to show you that's going to help you. This is very much a mindset call. Because, if you're doing the right things, great, but what's the next step? We could do the right things all day long, but if you're not pushing out of premier to silver, not pushing out of silver to gold, eventually you're like, I'm working too hard for this. I should be moving into the next phase right now. So a couple things I want to talk to you about, and things that I did growing up to move the needle forward. And I didn't know I was necessarily doing it as a child or a teenager. But I see how it positioned me to learn to kind of move forward in these things. So one thing I want to encourage you to do is, we've talked about this many times, like, is it a hell yes or is it a no? But say no to things that don't align with your goal. So if you don't already have a goal, you're kind of in trouble, but you should have set a goal for yourself of some sort for the next 90 days. I'm not even concerned about the whole year, but in the next 90 days, what is your doTERRA goal and what does and doesn't align with that? And so an example of this is when I grew up, I was a dancer. I taught tap, ballet, jazz, acrobatics, lyrical dance. I was just very, very involved in dancing. And I got certified as a dance teacher when I was 16 years old. And so I had a job. And I wasn't willing to jeopardize that for anything. And so I really wanted to learn to downhill ski, and all my friends were going skiing. And I said no over and over. Every season I wouldn't go skiing. And the reason I would say no to not going skiing is because I actually was afraid that, the probability of getting hurt could be there. But if I did, it wouldn't set me back for a week. It would set me back for a season. It would set me back. It could ruin my job, and ruin my love. And so, yes, I would have loved skiing. I do love skiing, but I actually had to say no to it so many times to choose the very first thing and the best thing. And so, like in doTERRA, a good example of this is if you're still watching TV, if you're still spending time on Netflix, like, that is not moving the needle forward in your business whatsoever. And it's taking up your time. And so what could you replace it with? You could say no to that because you are committed to personal development. You're going to read for 30 minutes or an hour every day. And so it's just basically saying no to these things so that you can say yes to the other things. Because the truth is, people who are achieving and have gotten it all, which is what, we say when we don't have it and we're looking in from the sidelines, they've gotten there because they've said no to those other things. That's how they've done it. And it's not because they figured out how to have more hours in a day per se, but yet they kind of have, because they figured out how to maximize their time. And if it doesn't align with their actual goal, they don't give two hoots to it. It doesn't get their attention, it doesn't get their time, and it gets their big fat no. And so I read some stuff recently too, where women were basically like, you don't need my permission, but you have permission to say no. And like, you definitely don't need anyone's permission, but you have permission to say no. One of our friends from a long time ago made a great post about it. And it got me thinking, like, how many times you don't say no to things because you don't think you can, or you feel guilty and things like that. But basically you have to figure out, does this align with what we want to do and how our family is going to move the needle forward, or how I'm going to push forward in this business or not. And I'm going to say no to it, because when you do that, it frees up a lot of things, So like for me, the only time I ever got injured in dance was at dance. But other than that, like, I was pushing ahead the whole time. And I mean, I had a great career at age 16, and I did that because I said no to a lot of other things. Okay. So just think that through a little bit. And think about what things you have going on. Even if you look at your week, okay, like what could you say no to? And this isn't rocket science, but it always comes back to these same things, honestly. And it still comes back to, like, for my own self and my own calendar, my kids' calendar, and those types of things. What can we say no to so it aligns? Another thing that's going to help you move the needle is that you personally need to push yourself to choose the hard thing. And so your hard thing isn't going to look like her hard thing. And this is not at all a comparison game whatsoever. There's always going to be someone more successful than you. There's always going to be someone richer than you. There's always going to be someone who does this better or does that better. And you're always probably going to do it better than somebody else, So that has nothing to do with it. But for you personally, you need to push yourself to do the hard thing, because the people who are jumping up in rank, they don't stop when it gets a little bit hard. They don't stop at 4 push-ups. They committed to doing 10, and they're going to do 10. And you know what? I guess I'll do 12, because you know what? Everyone else quit at 10. So I'm going to do 12. And I watched, you guys, I'm sure you watch or love Ange Peters, but I watched her do, I think it was an Insta story one time, and she said, every day when I run, I stop and I do 50 tricep dips in the middle of my run, and then I keep running. And she goes, and I do it because nobody else does it. And it's like, if I'm going to put myself ahead in this, it actually plays into so many other things in my life. And so just think about that for you. Again, this isn't about the girl next door, and this isn't about your upline or your crossline at all. This is about, what do you need to do to choose the harder thing, right? Are you the kind of person who just quits when you do the bare minimum, or do you push into the next thing? So think about what that means for you. Don't stop early. We talk to our kids about this a lot, like when it's their chore to like, you know, collect the trash. Like, do they collect all the trash in the room, in the house, dump it, and then put the trash cans back exactly where they go? Or do they just throw them in the room? You know, like, what kind of a person are you? Are you going to go the extra mile and do the right thing every time? And it sounds so little. It's like, how does that play into this? But it does. Every little single decision we make plays into it. And this is like researched and backed by, you know, The Slight Edge, the book Step. There's so many incredible books about your mindset and doing like the harder thing. Read them if you want, but the truth is I'm summarizing all right now. Just do the next hardest thing, okay? Push yourself. You can always do more than you think you can. Always, 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 always you can do more than you think you can. And so whatever you're doing with your business, let's just say that you're working on reactivations and you're like, I think I can reach out to 10 people today and I can make 10 phone calls, okay? So that's a good goal. But what I would challenge you to do if you really want to move the needle forward is actually push yourself to do 12, okay? So you're only pushing and challenging your own goal. You're only like moving your own finish line a little bit farther ahead than it was. Nobody knows it. Nobody sees it. It's not for an accolade or an award. It's not for a big rank recognition. It's for you to know, like, man, I do the hard thing and I pushed a little bit harder when I set up for myself this commitment. I made my commitment and then I did 2 more because I crushed things. That's what I do. That's the kind of person that I am. And again, you can feel even just the excitement in talking about it, that your needle moves forward because you want to be like, yes, that's the kind of person I want to be. You know, nobody was like, I actually really want to sign up to be lazy. I love being stuck. Treading water is the best. And I'm really content not doing anything. You know, I'm like, no, dive deep because I don't believe that to be true. You know, you want to be the best version of yourself. That's what you want to do. So, and then everything you do it with excellence, you know? So if I'm going to show up for a membership consult, I want to show up present. I want to show up with joy. I want to show up in a way that that person knows they're my only priority. So I want to be very intentional and like purposeful in it. I don't want to be distracted. I want to show up focused. So everything that you do it with a ton of excellence. And again, that's going to be the thing that puts you ahead in your own life, in your own business. It's going to move that needle forward. Because some people just show up and go through the motions and read the script and do the thing, but not everyone shows up as the best version of themselves. And so that is going to be another way that every time you do something, give yourself that pep talk of, am I showing up in this moment as the best version of myself? And if you're not, check yourself and reset yourself and then go for it. Because all that takes, you guys, is a gentle reminder of like, okay, you're about to walk into this and you're grouchy and, you know, you just dealt with something else on the phone and you're tired today. And so like pull out your oils. You have the most powerful, amazing tools. Take a deep breath, breathe, pray, give yourself some good self-talk. Tell yourself, you know what? I'm showing up present. I'm showing up focused. I'm showing up intentional, and I'm going to crush this membership consult. And I promise you, you will. Because it's the way that you show up. So do everything with excellence. Another thing is when you're working, when you're putting your time into this, only do the things that will move your needle forward, which we call income producing activities. You can call them whatever you want. I say a lot, like, is your store open? Is this a way to make a sale? Will income come into your store this way? You know, how are we interacting with customers? But I could do a lot of things that aren't going to move my needle. Like right now, if you saw my desk and just everywhere around these computer and phone, it's kind of messy. It does need cleaned up. But that's not going to move my needle forward in my volume, in the way I lead people, my business this month. So I'll organize it at some point. It's not a big deal. I'll get to it. But my priority is what will move my needle forward in this month. And that's going to be different for everybody because it's going to align with the goals that you have. So you got to think about your goals and think, what moves my needle forward toward this goal? That's going to be a really important part too. And then the last thing I just want to leave you with is to do the hard things for yourself. So do the brave thing, do the thing that scares you. It builds up this muscle that is very hypothetical, but it's like in our house with our kids, we call it their brave muscle. Like, how are you building up your brave muscle? By doing the things that scare you. And sometimes it's doing the hard things, like apologizing to someone really builds up your brave muscle, or saying that you're sorry will build up your brave muscle. Calling the person that you really should have called a long time ago, going to reach out to a chiropractor's office and invite them to learn about oils. All of those things are going to build your brave muscle. And we know that our brain doesn't want us to build that muscle. That's the thing, is our whole being is like, don't do that. That's, like, stay away from that. It's scary. It's gonna, it's going to harm you. It's going to be, hard. Don't do it. And I want to encourage you to like push past that voice and tell yourself, I can do hard things. I tell myself that all the time. I say, I can do hard things. And I say, you're going to be okay. And they're so simple. Like, they sound like what you would say to, like, your children. And they're very common catchphrases in our house. But I'll say, I can do hard things. I can do hard things. And then I'll go and do it. And then no matter what I'm doing, no matter how I feel, like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And there's just that sense of like, yep, I'm totally going to be okay. And when you tell yourself that enough, not only does your muscle grow, but you start to believe it too. And then it's easier and easier and easier to do it every single time. And so you guys, every time I pick up the phone, I am not like, I love making phone calls. I love this. It's so much fun. I never feel that way. I always feel like, okay, you can do hard things. Everyone wants to be on your team. You're a fantastic leader. You show up with intention. You're positive. You are an amazing person to work with. Dial and be like, hello. And then the person I just talked myself into being shows up on that phone call. But I am just as scared to do those things as you are. The thing is I just do them anyway. And so I just kind of want to level the playing field here in a sense and be like, this has nothing to do with your gifting or her extrovertedness or her background. And there is actually no research that says you have to have this, collection of 5 strengths to be good at this. And, people with this collection of 5 strengths are better at this. It always comes down to these daily habits and the things that you actually put yourself through and make yourself do. And so if you want to move the needle forward in these things, this is just my best advice. And I think it's the things that have helped me so much in life. Things like going to college and working 3 jobs at the same time, doing the hard thing to meet the goal when no one else is willing to do those things. That will set you apart. And so, and it doesn't necessarily matter, like, again, what other people are doing. This is only about you. So, what I would encourage you to do is, I'm going to end it now, but just write down a few things of like, okay, if my goal is this, what are some things that don't align that I can stop doing? What are some things that do align that I must do every day? And what are some hard things that I've been avoiding that I need to do so that I can move the needle forward? And you will see results with that. You will absolutely see results because you keep your eye on the prize and you stay focused with those things and you don't let yourself get distracted. So I hope that really encouraged you. I hope you go and do 10 push-ups right now. I hope you do the thing that's hard for you. And I apply this every day. I apply it when I go to the gym. I apply it when I'm with my kids. I apply it when I'm cleaning, like when I'm like putting the dishes away and putting them in the sink. Like, that's good. That's fine, right? I cleaned up the kitchen, but like the harder thing would actually to be like scrub the sink. And I like make myself do it. I'm like, scrub the sink. It needs scrub. Do the extra thing. Go the extra mile. Be excellent in that. Fold the blanket. Don't just shove it and run away, because all of those little things actually matter and add up to the big things and the successful things. And I promise you that the people that are very successful in life, they do these little teeny things that matter, like make their bed every day, So you guys got this. You just need to move your own needle, and I believe in you. So I'd love to know, after you guys can implement some of this stuff, come back and comment and let us know how you're doing with it and how you're getting yourself out of that system of treading water. Okay. And by the way, with Tipster Tuesday, we're just trying to figure out the best timing. Truthfully, I used to do them in the mornings at 9, which I miss doing them first thing. So I could probably do them earlier, like if you guys would be willing to hang with me at like 7 a.m. or 7:30. But I found this hot yoga class that is like blowing my mind, that is at 9:15. And I have to drive for it. So it kind of blows up my morning Tipster Tuesday with you. And so then I thought, well, maybe in the afternoon we'll reach more people anyway, especially when it comes to, you know, East Coast, West Coast and different things. So I'm willing to get up and like kind of jump in first thing with you with our, you know, hot tea and coffee and just dive into it early. And then you can catch the replay if that's too early. But I'm willing to take some feedback too. So if you have anything to say about that, just timing wise, the reason it's just been different every week is because I'm trying to figure out what works best. So let us know and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, I kind of love the idea of like, eating the frog and getting it done first thing in the morning as well. So thank you guys. We love you so much. And we have we just had a big Live Naturally Tools meeting today. We have some exciting things coming for you. So I'm just so happy to serve you in this way. All right, I'm going to go now. Whoa.